kind of early for you over there?
It is, yeah, but I've got some coffee. It's okay.
You're over in Vegas. Awesome.
Yeah,
How long have you been there?
a few months, honestly. I've been performing in Las Vegas since 2015, but I just moved here to do it full time in June.
So how do you like it so far?
I absolutely love it. It's been everything I thought it was going to be. I've just completely booked up my weekends with, different places that are on the strip and places where it's just me and my guitar still. It's still really simple, but it's been incredibly successful for what it is.
How awesome is that though? It's just you and the guitar. You don't have to deal with all this gear, deal with the band, moving a van around from venue to
It can
venue.
be a lot of gear, and honestly, I'm trying to add more gear all the time, but but yeah, what's difficult is just maybe I don't play well with others, but it's hard for me to like collaborate with other people a lot of the time because I want to be so in control of the music, of the lyrics, of everything. And if it's not up to where I want it to be, maybe I'm not very nice about it, I guess. But I've been through a few different bands and we performed together and it was fun and everything. But ultimately, it looks like it's pretty much just going to be me solo.
And there's nothing wrong
And
with
that's
that. I
fine.
mean, lots of folk artists do that as well. It's just
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong to anything in the business.
Yeah. I mean, every iteration of the Lisa Mac band that I've had, we had good experiences. It was great. It's just, um, ultimately artists really want to be their own thing in their own entity. And it can be hard to put all of that together in one place under one name.
Yeah, I could totally understand why bands, can last only a certain amount of time. There's got to be a real nuanced way of keeping that going. You're dealing with huge egos and everybody fighting probably
Yeah.
over every note and line.
Yeah. So as a solo artist, it's going to come down to me just hiring people for individual roles, for recording or whatever it is that we're doing so that I can really be the creative director and have full control over it all. Cause I'm a bit of a control freak, honestly. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to step out of that and admit that and say, this is how it's gonna be. Just understand that. So
Just
don't
part
call
of the
me
job.
a
Yeah.
I'm not really a diva. It's just this is the way it is. You just
Yeah.
want the best takes out of everything that you're doing. So and I'm sure it's that way in the recording process as well, because you could always go back,
Mhm.
you could edit, you could do as many takes as you want.
Yep. Yeah. You can do a lot in the studio to really fix things up when you've messed it up. But if you start with a really good performance and a good energy with it, then it's going to be way better, than if you have to use tricks and magic to get it where it was. And the last couple of songs that I recorded, it was maybe a little bit like that, where the the studio did a lot to fix a few parts that were not quite right. But I think going forward, I'm gonna be taking a lot more control over that too. Basically, I had paid a producer to get their input and everything, and they are a Grammy award-winning producer at this point, which is amazing. Um, but the more time that goes on, the more I'm just like, I could do everything. I can just do it myself.
I know that's how it is. I do a lot of video work, so it's like that. It's so much harder having somebody behind you saying, "Hey, can you move this over here? Can you do this? Can you tweak this over there?" It's like this could be a real solo project, and we could get it done probably better and quicker that way. That's probably that way in that production process and music.
Yeah. Well, what I signed up for on my last two songs was a really polished studio sound, and that's, what we got. But what I think my music is more of a live sound. And so going forward, that's probably really what I'm going to be going for, is that live performance sound where the band is all together, and like, it's just a different energy to it,
Hmm.
and I.
So where can we see you in Vegas? You're at the Mirage, Mandalay Bay, other places where you're around town there?
Yeah, I get to go to the Mirage in Mandalay Bay quite a lot, which is great. I love it there. Tonight, I'm playing at the Suncoast, the 9090 bar in the Suncoast. Tomorrow is the Square Bar, which is a really cool 70s like retro spot. on Karen Avenue. And then Sunday is the parlor at the Mirage, which is a really nice upscale spot. I think it's a cigar bar actually, but yeah, it's really cool in there. I like the Mirage.
Yeah, must be a melange of odors in the cigar bar. I'm sure it's probably got that retro feel to it.
It is. It's kind of like a swanky 60s look to it. And it feels really secluded and small, even though it's in the middle of this big casino and kind of in the middle of the floor. They do a really good job of making it feel like it's a little hideaway in the middle of all of it. So I highly recommend the parlor at the Mirage. It's pretty cool.
Great, yeah. So go to Vegas, you get a really good show there. So how did this all start for you growing up? When did you start getting into singing and guitar? How did that all start?
Well, I must have been 3 or 4 when The Little Mermaid came out, and I just never stopped singing. I just always was trying to sing those sounds. And then as I grew up, I had a lot of brothers and sisters, and my parents that would play, old rock music, old Motown, like just everything, old blues music like BB King. And I would hear this when I was really, really little, and I just was fascinated by it. I always wanted to learn how to play the blues piano. All my older brothers and sisters got piano lessons and they told me I was too young. And so I just went at it really hard and I was like, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn this Muddy Waters 16 bar blues. I'm going to learn all of it. And, I just never stopped. At a certain point, I think I was 17 when I picked up the guitar and was like, this is how I can get out in front of people and perform. I just have to play the guitar. I have to learn how to do it. And so yeah, I just really always knew that this is what I was supposed to do. I got other jobs that were really great jobs, could have been great careers, but it just wasn't the right thing. And I just always knew that. I always felt that this is the only thing I could really do is just make music. And then once I started writing songs, it just felt like it got easier and easier to write songs to where now I've got a whole stack of songs. And the hard part is getting it recorded to the level that I want it and the release plan and all of that while still performing live every single weekend and staying booked up. It can be a lot to think about, but I feel very grateful that I've been able to make it work this long.
So when you were really young, did you pick up the guitar and piano? Did you like start doodling around with it when nobody was looking? When it's like, I'm gonna just do this. I kind of remember being as a kid and having older siblings and them saying, nah, you can't do this. But when nobody's looking, I'm gonna go ahead and do this.
Absolutely. I was always trying to get on the piano and sometimes I'd have to, oh, sorry, it's probably pretty loud.
Buzzing, those planes buzzing over you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm in a flight path too.
Sometimes there would be competition for the piano because my older sister Darcy, she was more advanced than I was. She's the one who got the lessons, but I would just read the books and I would pester her with questions about what these musical terms meant, and I would read the musical dictionary that we had. I would play with the metro. I would just all of it. Like it was just a great environment for me to be in, even though they didn't get piano lessons for me until much later. They told me I was too young and all that. I still just went at it and taught myself and begged her to teach me as much as she would. And when it came to guitar, eventually I did get piano lessons. I did get voice lessons when I was 6, started voice lessons when I was like 11. I started piano lessons. And then in middle school, took guitar classes. Also just pestered my older sister to let me use her guitar and teach me bar chords and other things that they hadn't taught me in class. And then, just using the internet and teaching myself, I just kept going and learning about music theory. I took some classes in college about sight singing and ear training and 14th century counterpoint composition that they would use for like hymns and stuff. I mean, I've gone through a lot of education, but the most that I've learned was after I started teaching. I started teaching guitar, piano, and voice. And as a teacher, just doing more research and reading about more voice training and things that I had never learned before about like stamina for your voice and how to not damage your voice long term all day, every day. So I've just learned so much because I just have always tried to do more for my students, and keep learning how to not damage myself so I can keep performing for 6 hours at a time, 2 shows a day sometimes. So
So what do you have
It's
to
been
do though
years,
yeah, what do you
years
have to
that's
do
led
to
up to
save
how
your
much I
voice?
know.
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, yeah, honestly, that's not to give away any strict secrets or anything like that, but what do you have to do and what's a technique you have to do to save your voice?
Um, the most important thing is when you go to your high notes, you blow out less air. So a lot of people feel like they have to
Hmm.
push harder to get to a high note, but what you have to do is relax, let it go quieter, and that can be a huge component to being in control of your voice and uh not having any damage, like where your voice goes out at the end of your show and it feels like your voice is gone.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So how busy are you with giving lessons and is it 50-50 giving lessons and performing or
I had to give up teaching lessons because the shows got to be taking over all of that time.
yeah,
So yeah,
I'm sure.
I loved teaching. I did it for many, many years, but at this point, just full-time performing and then recording in the extra time if I have any.
Nice. Yeah. You're all over YouTube. Got a lot of soulful music out there. It's just do you have a favorite there? Your songs, your original compositions, those are your babies. So do you have a favorite one out of them?
They are my babies. You're completely right. I just played yesterday. I played a song called Different Kind on a bass six on a different kind of guitar that's somewhere between a regular guitar and a bass. Are you still with me?
Yeah, yeah. We're cool.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think I'm gonna play that one tonight. I think I'm gonna play the bass guitar tonight at the show. And it's really cool
Yeah.
because it puts everything in a different key. And so I put a recording out yesterday on Instagram and Facebook. I don't think I put it on YouTube yet, but I'll go put it on there. Where I'm playing different kind with this different kind of guitar, and it sounds very different. It makes me sing it entirely different, and that's definitely one of my favorite songs that I've written because I feel like it was really inspired, and then it's because it all came to me at once. It was like I was driving the car, and I felt like I was just hearing it in my head, but like it was on the radio playing. I was just hearing the song playing, and I had to pull the car over and try to like write it down and like record a voice memo and try to get it down of what that song was going to be. And it never really changed. I never improved upon it. It is what it is. And it all just came right at once, just bam. And I feel like it's a message that a lot of people really need to hear, that they deserve to be loved, basically, that they even deserve to try and do something that seems scary, like it was after a really bad breakup and you're deciding to try and let someone love you, and
Mm.
it's terrifying. So yeah, that's what that song is.
Yeah, all those tragic events can turn into positive things like a great song. Unfortunately, you have to live through that, but gosh, so many artists have done that. So it sounds like
Oh,
it's working.
yeah, that's the human experience. That's what all of
Yeah.
these songs that really resonate with people are about. It's just like that experience that everybody goes through, and it is shitty,
Yeah.
but that's life. That's your life.
It really is. You pour it and you're channeling those bad things and some anger and things like that into your work, and it makes for more powerful songs. Unfortunately, you go through that, but that is feels like you got a lot of Tracy Chapman vibe. Was she a huge influence?
Thank you. I appreciate that. She is, of course, a huge influence. She's incredible. The very first open mic that I did that Give Me One Reason song. And it's been maybe the number one song that people have requested from me over the years.
That's great.
Still do. Every show, somebody will
Remember when
say
she
it.
first came out with that, it was just like I never heard anything like this. What an original. So I could see that being a huge inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. And what's crazy is that's really not my favorite song of hers either. She's got these songs about revolution and about, some really
Mm.
big topics that the music is incredible. Her voice is incredible. Um, there's one called, I don't know if it's called Forgiveness or it's called I'm Sorry. Incredible song.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got some great albums out there. Just incredible singer songwriter. It's just somebody who really popped out there in the scene. There was nobody like her before that looked and sounded as rich and deep as somebody like Tracy Chapman. You have a really good single, "Cause You Love Me." What's the origins of that one? That's a really wonderful single.
The song "Cause You Love Me" was written at the same time as the other song called "Caught Up," and what happened is what had happened was somebody cheated on me, and then I stayed with them, and then they dumped me because that I was being distant. So I was like, okay, tried to move on with my life, and and then they showed up kind of like a stalker, and just cried at me basically until I felt like kind of maybe a little manipulated to go back into this relationship. But in the mess of all of that, of feeling like I was missing out on some kind of great, because they kept saying that no one's ever going to love you the way that I love you, and that's a red flag if anyone ever says that to you. But I believed it at the time, and I
Mm.
was very sad and then very angry because I felt like they had really done me wrong, and then trying to make me feel bad about it, trying to make me feel bad about moving on. And
What
so
a
in the midst of all
game.
that, the sad feeling is the song "Caught Up," and the angry feeling about it is the song "Cause You Love Me." And it's just like, is everything really gonna be better because you say you love me? Like, is that gonna fix everything? So that's what that song is.
Oh gosh. What a game that is, though. Nobody's gonna, love you like I do. Yeah, that is a red flag. It's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna really fall for that. And that's playing games. I mean, you kind of wonder if that's like some kind of narcissistic thing going on.
It is. It absolutely is, because saying I love you to just try and gloss over something is very manipulative, just to gloss over your own wrongdoing. And they're like, I just made one mistake. I really love you. And like, no, it was a pretty big mistake. And you really thought it out and did it, and did it on purpose. And then tried to make me feel like it was my fault somehow. I mean, there's a lot of gaslighting in there. And that's what happens with
Yeah.
narcissists. And what's unfortunate is I went through two 7-year cycles of this, one after the other. And it's just too much, when somebody makes you feel like you have to fight for their affection or whatever, like somebody makes you feel like these anxious feelings, it's just not right. You got to just go with your gut and realize that those aren't good feelings. That's not love,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Takes a lot of therapy after that too. It's like, gosh, this person just really messed with my head. And now I don't know where I'm at. Yeah, I think it would make me question myself a lot more. Well, I've been through it. So it's like I've dealt with that narcissistic kind of thing going on. Yeah. It's a whole psychological thing.
Yeah, you really got to try and spot it. Come at you in
Mm.
weird. These people seem really nice. They seem like they want to help you. They seem like they do love you for a minute, and then it's like, oh, you cheated on me. What? Because you had a bad toothache? Because you were in pain? Like, I don't do that when I'm in pain.
Yeah.
I um
It takes a lot to go cheating. I mean, it's not like, you just, snap and you slip into doing that. It takes a lot, takes some effort there. So there's a lot of process, there's a lot of steps to that. So it's like, oh, I just couldn't help myself. I mean, the reasons are just probably, quite comical in a way too.
the reason was very comical. That's why I shared that with you.
You
I've never
gotta be
shared
kidding
that.
me. Yeah. Oh gosh. But you gotta find that strength and that power to channel that as well.
Yeah,
You have a great song called Picnic. I think I came across that, I believe, on YouTube. Kind of poppy-ish and pretty catchy.
yeah. I actually filmed a music video for Picnic, and that was a really great time. Actually, we just spent a few hours in Central Park in New York and made a music video for that. But it's because I'd written all of these sad love songs, like these angry breakup songs and things like that, for this album. And I was gonna call it "Losing Game," like Amy Winehouse song. Um,
Mm.
I don't know, maybe she covered that song "Losing Game." Love is a losing game. But Decided to go with something a little bit more happy that might be a little catchy. Thought of Picnic, and this was recommended to me by the person who cheated on me. Actually, they
Mm.
said it's Picnic, so it sounds like happy, and like your brand's a little bit more bubbly and happy, even though you've been through this shit. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good, but I'd have to write a song where it's like it's no fucking picnic. And I laughed, and then I wrote the song in like 5 minutes. So it all just came from that, where I was just laughing to myself, and it had a lot of f bombs in it when I first wrote it. So it's no fucking picnic the whole way through. And I was like, they're not gonna play that on the radio. We got to tone it down. But
You got your explicit
kids like that.
version, which would probably do great on YouTube. Obviously, it seems
Yeah.
like it would be doing well there. And yeah, you got to make a version to clean it up too if you want
Hmm.
somebody to play that. I'm sure. Good
Yeah.
video.
Oh,
Shedrick Pelt did the
tell me
video.
they like the song. So I'm glad that we did that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So is it somebody named Shedrick Pelt who did the
Yeah.
video and work with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is an incredible photographer, cinematographer. He edited the video. He, had the creative direction for what happened in the video. It was great. He is incredible, and you can see his work, I think, on display in Washington D.C. He's got a book out, so yes, definitely check out Shedrick Pelt. He's amazing.
Mm, did a really, really good job. Kind of has like a reggae-ish backbeat to it to that single. It's
Mm-hmm.
do you have a little bit of influence from that as well? Bob Marley type.
Oh, yeah, I've always loved reggae music. Absolutely. If there's one song that I would say is one of my favorite songs of all time, it's a Bob Marley song called Sun is Shining.
Mm,
And I guess you could maybe hear some of that song in in this one. That song's maybe in more of a minor key. My song's maybe a little bit more of a major key, but a little bit of a similarity there.
mm, yeah, great song. I mean, and your YouTube channel, how can we find that? Is that just do a Google search for you?
Yeah, if you look for Lisa Mac Picnic, you will be able to find it on any streaming service that you look at.
Yeah, and a lot of and you have people recording your shows and stuff like that. So how did you do through the pandemic? As far as like,
Mm.
did you do those live concerts, FaceTiming and all of that?
I was hired for a few live private Zoom parties, which was really fun. Um, but I did a lot of online lessons. Honestly, that's what really helped me out, is doing online lessons. And it was a lot harder. It's not the same as being in the same room with somebody, especially when they're little kids. It could be really difficult, but yeah, we did the best we could and
Yeah.
just kept pushing. Some of the places in St. George still allowed me to do concerts, even when everybody had to wear masks and everything was, shut down. They told me I couldn't publicize, like I couldn't really try to get more people to come to the show, but that I could do the show. So I was able to release a song and still do a release event, even though, we couldn't really do much.
Yeah, yeah, you had to find a way to survive in that environment.
Yeah.
It was a tough space for a lot of artists.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very blessed that I was able to do lessons during that time. I'm very lucky that I had pushed for that and had the experience to do that. So that transition wasn't really too crazy for me. What was crazy for me is I have 3 kids. So we went to homeschool, you
Oh,
know,
gosh.
and then I did it longer than necessary. I actually did extra homeschool because I didn't want to send them back to school yet. So, for me, it was really great. It was awesome to be able to just be home with them and just spend time with them and really care about their education, and just focus on that a lot. So,
Wow. How did they do
um,
throughout all that? That's really I have one daughter but she was already done with college by the time the pandemic happened. But I think she would have done all right because part of the computer generation, she just really could absorb things and teach herself things online. Not every kid can adjust to that.
Yeah, yeah, it can be really hard, especially because the homeschool thing that we were doing, it bought them iPads, it got them these little programs on the iPad to do their homeschool stuff with. Um, but the only reason that I knew about that was because I was an approved teacher for this specific homeschool program, and it's only available like in Utah and Hawaii and
Oh,
certain states. So, um, I just was in the right place at the right time that I knew about this thing and was eligible for it. And
wow.
and yeah, we really lucked out on a lot of counts that I was able to do online lessons, that they were able to do online lessons really successfully. Um, but yeah, it was hard. It was hard to try and get them to just keep going with it for so long. Because at first it was fun. We're learning Chinese and Spanish on Duolingo, and then after 180 days of that, it's not fun anymore. Like you got to
Yeah,
spice
really.
it up and do something different. Nori, stop.
So you're in
Sorry.
Vegas. Looks like you got that Vegas lifestyle. Reminds me of those houses on that show, Flipping Vegas, if you've ever seen that on
Oh, I
cable.
love this house. Honestly, we've got a pretty nice
Is there a
spot here,
wall
but
there?
but the dog's trying to dig up the everything. So
And you don't have much of a yard. You have to zero escape pretty much. I mean, there's no such thing as like
yeah,
watering a full lawn or anything like that.
yeah. We have fruit trees, which is honestly pretty luxurious out here with all the rock landscaping. So, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
no grass. There's no grass.
That's neat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to conserve water out there. Definitely. It's hard everywhere now. That's for sure. We can go into droughts here. I'm in Atlanta. So we've had some scares of not having enough water as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. So how old are your kids now?
I have twins that are 8 and my oldest is 12.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. They're definitely in the thick of school and growing up there. Now, where were you before Vegas? Were you all living?
Before this, we are living in St. George, Utah, and at that time, I had a stepson living with me who was also 8. So it was like we had triplets during the homeschool,
Full
2 years
house.
of homeschool, and it was intense. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Busy, busy. Wow. That must be incredible. And then, yes, how was it just moving everybody to Vegas? How were they
oh, just so
feeling?
much work, just so much work.
Yeah.
But it really was. It really couldn't have happened any other way. There's just only I've had just a ton of love and support from my family and my fans and my friends and everything coming out to Las Vegas, and I couldn't have done it without all of them. Because
That's important. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work for me on my own, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it on my own.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very, very grateful to be here. It took a lot of years, a lot of work, but we're here, and it's happening. It's all happening.
Totally takes that village. It does. It's just you can't do everything all on your own. It's that's a lot to juggle. I totally hats off to all the things that you're doing and creating. It's just incredible. How
Yeah.
long have you been recording now? Like actually putting songs and recording now?
Um, I recorded a jazz album for myself on a computer by myself when I was, let's see, that was 2007.
Hmm.
It was when I first got my first equipment and started recording. And within the next few years, I'd worked with some people in a studio, but for their music that they didn't have a strong release plan for. My first official release that's out there now was 2016. That's Picnic. And that was recorded in a studio here in Las Vegas called Naked City Audio, which was a very interesting experience. And yeah, so I think 2016 is like my official start, like professionally recording. Because that studio was pretty major compared to what I had used before that.
Wow. Yeah, so you seem to have a good technical mind as well as artistic, and you don't see that too
I
much in the business.
love the technical part of recording. Like if
Really?
I could show you the whole mess of my home studio right now, it's glorious. It's just wires everywhere, speakers everywhere, these like just different kinds of microphones. I love recording. It's so fun for me. I honestly get lost in it for hours, days. Yeah, it's
Excellent.
very
Good for you. Yeah, and I stumbled on you on Facebook, so it's really important to be on the socials, and a lot of people feel, oh, I'm just shoving this stuff out into the ether, but you never know. People could really stumble on you. Yeah, it's just you just got to keep going. It's that little train that could. It's
Yeah,
definitely.
the engagement has really been going up recently since I've been performing in Las Vegas and since I've been trying to, post more videos and stuff online. It's been because really now that I'm not teaching, I have more time to be creating that content. And that content's important, even though it's just going live and just posting these weird little videos of me playing the guitar. That stuff is important because people have to find you, somehow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of content out there. You should never let that discourage you from anything. It's just it is what it is. You got to believe in your mission
Mhm.
and be powerful from there. Got some good covers out there too. So Frank Ocean is that's an interesting one.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been focused on my YouTube videos so much as the Facebook and Instagram, and that might be a mistake.
We could find you. You got a regular website where we can stumble on you and see more of your material.
Yes, you can visit lisamac.live and you can join my email list and you can find my show calendar and all of my streaming merchandise, everything at lisamac.live.
Excellent. Best wishes for you, and hopefully way more recording, a lot of singles, hopefully a full album, EPs, or whatever comes your way in the future.
Yes, sir. I'm working on that next single right now. So make sure you go follow and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Have a good one. Best wishes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.